Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm here today to present on behalf of Wing Bank in terms of the challenge that we'd like to highlight. Before I start sharing the problem statement, I would just like to share a few things about Wing, right? Okay. So for Wing Bank, our main vision essentially is to provide every Cambodian convenient access to digital solutions, right, to improve the daily lives of Cambodians. That's our main goal. We've been in the market for over 13 years. Let me just share you some key highlights. I'll just highlight 3 points in the existence of Wing. So we launched in 2009. Today, in 2022, essentially we have revolutionized or changed our business, right? At the beginning of Wing, essentially, just to give a key highlight on the first point is we started out with the agent network. Essentially, these agents facilitate assisted digital transactions of domestic transfers within Cambodia. Our second key highlight essentially, which I would like to point out here essentially is from assisted digital transaction services, we ventured into digital payments, whereby we enable consumers with their Wing apps essentially to facilitate transactions by themselves. And thirdly, as of recent, last year we were issued to be officially a commercial bank, and this year we launched our branches. So I will share you the challenges that we face as well as how we've grown. Okay. Just to highlight some success from Wing side. So just to, one of the main things essentially is from the agent network. Agent network we have now, we started off with a few hundred back in 2009. Now we're at 11,000 agents nationwide in all provinces of Cambodia up to the commune level, which we have 100% coverage. But throughout these 13 years, essentially, we've only been successful due to our partnerships. For our corporate partners, essentially MFIs, financial institutions, and others. Okay, now here I will share with you the main challenges in the SME sector. I'll break down these slides into 3. One is the overview. The second one would be, I'll be identifying our problem statement. And third, the criteria. Sorry. Okay. So for the main challenges that we face, essentially not just Wing, but Cambodia, we know that Cambodia's economic growth from 2010 to 2019 was at a constant of about 7% annually, driven by the major sectors in garments, tourism, construction, and agriculture, right? However, in recent years, in 2020 and 2021, the COVID-19 pandemic has, of course, affected that growth to negative 3% as of 2021. Now, since the pandemic, the outcome has created issues, not for everyone, especially for SMEs. SMEs and MSMEs. So essentially, that the main challenge is limited access to finance, the lack of customers. So a lot of these SMEs lost their customers because, especially for example, the tourism sector, less tourists were coming in, of course. So a lot of the businesses, they are affected with business closures, customers not being able to have the same spending power, unemployment, which affected as well for the last 2 years. Now, below you can see that these SMEs face multitude of challenges, as a lot of these SMEs are striving to recover for the last 2 years, right? And essentially, one of the main challenges is scaling to reach SMEs. The root challenge that we see essentially is for SMEs, we need to be able to educate and provide solutions. We need to address 2 things. The first thing is we need to educate I mean, there's a lot of promoting of financial literacy, but essentially to educate financial literacy and digital literacy. So I highlight these 2 points essentially because first, financial literacy essentially is to educate these SMEs to, help them with their basic finances, budgeting, making sure that if they have loans, they pay on time so that their credit score won't be affected in the future. For digital literacy, we also highlight this because there are a lot of, startups, banks, other platforms that are in the digital space. But however, at times, these SMEs are either overwhelmed with the information or it's simply that they still don't understand it. So it takes a lot of effort to educate essentially SMEs and MSMEs. Okay, now the 2 main challenges that I mentioned in terms of educating on digital and financial literacy. I just want to highlight, what Wing has been doing, but even though we've been doing this, we still face some challenges, right? So here on the point one, based on our vision, what we're trying to provide is digital solutions that are relevant to our customers, which is one is our SME sector. So the first point, I clubbed into 1 point is what we do is we try to provide technology, access to technology, and access to market. So when you say access to technology, essentially these are innovations that we develop, that we provide and help the businesses of SMEs. And access to market essentially is these SMEs to be able to leverage our base, the base that I mentioned earlier, whether it's our customer base or agent base and so on. Now, what we've done in first point is we continue to educate SMEs by providing multiple technology platforms to SMEs. However, how we do this is a lot of it uses a lot of manpower resources, right? So it's very costly for us to go down to the market and go one-on-one or to educate essentially these SMEs. So just to highlight what I mean here in terms of what we give access to technologies, for the first point, for example, as Wing Bank, when we approach SMEs, what we provide to them is one of the technologies is we facilitate we facilitate QR code payments, which we provide these SMEs Wing Bank KHQR. So this KHQR essentially how it helps is it helps these SMEs able to collect or get payments through multiple bank apps consolidated into one QR code, right? That's from a technology perspective. Now, from a access to market, it provides access to, since the KHQR allows multiple banks to scan and pay, then essentially that's the market that they're able to tap, whether other banks, other customers, or even international payments, because we too have Alipay and WeChat for the tourism sector. And the third bullet point here is where we've also ventured is, in terms of access technology, is we've ventured into providing Q-commerce or e-commerce. Q-commerce essentially is quick commerce or on-demand delivery service. So at the same SME, what we provide is we create, for example, these SMEs, we create a virtual store for SMEs to list their products and essentially create a virtual store to have our customers order from their order the goods from our platform. And then since we provide a Q-commerce service, we do on-demand deliveries, or we do the fulfillment. We also employ essentially delivery drivers. And the market, when for this Q-commerce, how do we provide access to local markets? Essentially, we've now expanded into multiple provinces, right? 8 cities. And just think of it as, let's say, if you're an SME, especially through the situation of COVID afterwards, how you're trying to recover. When let's say, for example, an SME that only caters to a certain commune. So how it benefits in terms of the Q-commerce is maybe instead of just catering to my commune, I can now sell to the next commune and the one nearby. So essentially, it expands my market of customers to sell my products to. Okay, and all this, access to technology and access to market, essentially, the second point here is what we provide is access to finance, which has changed for us for 2022, because essentially, since we are now a commercial bank, then we can offer loans to these SMEs. And why we built these technologies, these platforms, essentially, is for us to be able to help SMEs and be able to provide financial assistance to them directly. That's why we have also ventured into becoming a full commercial bank. So from access to finance, what are we providing to these SMEs? Essentially, we provide loans. If they're on using our payroll, we can provide salary advance to these SMEs as well. So essentially, what we're trying to do is for these SMEs to leverage the technology that we provide and the market that we have. Okay. Now, which leads me to the problem statement. Although in the previous slide, I've shared with you what Wing has been doing. The main challenge for us is essentially being able to fully scale. Because as I mentioned, how do we engage with these SMEs or micro SMEs? We have a team across all provinces essentially to go out into the market. So the channels are direct, but it's not scalable, right? You can hire, if you want to reach all SMEs registered is over 500K, essentially what you need to do is hire more people, which will be costly. Secondly, you can have them come to your branches, but again, what we need to be able to do is find a way. The problem statement is how can Wing scale in educating financial and digital literacy to SMEs? I think that's, if we're able to address this, if we're able to address educating financial and digital literacy, then these SMEs can leverage the technology that I mentioned. They can leverage the market that we provide, not just from Wing actually. I think this covers for a lot of the co-sponsors here as well. Okay. Now, from the problem statement, this is the criteria, but I leave it open to interpretation as well. The first one is, since we're trying to scale in terms of educating SMEs and MSMEs, the solutions can utilize both digital and offline channels, right? It could be a innovative technological solution as well as maybe just additional channels to open up for offline, because the second criteria essentially is the solution should be able to address one-to-many to scale reach to SMEs. Because as I mentioned, the challenge that we have is it's 1:1, right? A lot of it is 1:1, whereby our merchant teams go out into the market and meet these SMEs, MSMEs one-on-one. So if we're able to find a scalable way to educate, then the transition of being able to leverage the technologies and market that we provide, or the finance even, will be easier for these SMEs. So the main result that we want to achieve here is result in the increased adoption of leveraging Wing technological solutions in the space of the products that we provided that I mentioned earlier, which is cash management, payments, e-commerce, and financial services. I'd like to conclude the challenge that I stated, and I wish luck to all the participants, as well as we're looking forward to seeing what the results will be. Thank you.